Hey guys, welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to be talking about the most overpowered customs for every single character. Now what do I mean by overpowered customs? Well, some characters have really big heads. For example, Rockbee, he has these big horns on his head and his arms are huge. But we can circumvent that. We put on the right customizations. The customizations not take up as much room as usual. As you can see, I have a lot more room to see what's going on now, theoretically making the customs better. So I'm going to go through every single character, what their best customizations are, to be able to see the most of this game. If you guys like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe if you're not subscribed. I make daily Garden Warfare 2 videos. Alright, so I figured since we just talked about Rockbee, we could talk about the Peashooter class first. For most of these, if you don't have a lot of the stuff, default is fine. But the best hat is definitely Mistletoe, because it takes up no room basically, even less than the regular ones. The leaves are pretty big. Mistletoe, basically microscopic. This is a really petty one, but you can see the eyebrows. There's some accessories that make them not as easy to see. For example, like the googly eyes or the X eyes. So yeah, that's really up to you. For the organics, if you don't have the Christmas customizations, the pizzas are good because they're basically like nothing. But the best one definitely is the tree lights because they are transparent. For characters like the Ice Pea, you're obviously going to want to take off their big heads. So the Mistletoe and the tree lights definitely make these characters a lot thinner and easier to see. And then their big eyebrows, like I said, can be taken off with the X eyes or whatever accessory you prefer. Toxic Pea has a big mask on his face, so go ahead and put that onto none. And then the Mistletoe will work just fine. And of course, the tree lights. Rock Pea, same thing. Law Pea, same thing. You're just going to want to run these on all the Peashooters. Let's move over to the zombies. So let's move on to Imp. The Imp is an interesting one. So a lot of the Imp classes hats are pretty tiny for the most part, but if you want the biggest advantage, these are going to be the ones to run. The best hat for Imp is Uncle. There's no bald option for Imp, but this is basically the second best option. It's pretty much bald. It takes up no room on the screen. And then a little fact, if you don't like the regular custom, you do have other options with silver, gold, diamond, and gem, like the silver option right here. I know some of these customs are kind of ugly, but if you want to be able to see the most of what's going on, these are the customs you're going to want to run. Fun fact, Z7 Imp can actually just be bald for some reason. For the superhero, the hat that allows you to see most of what's going on is the planet face. It's pretty much a bald option. However, some of the superheroes have the option to be bald. Regular Super Brainz doesn't, along with Party Brainz. Moving back over to the Citrons, a lot of different ones. The Peel Over works great, along with the Cosmic Recruit. The Cosmic Recruit is most likely the better option. With the roses, most of the time you're going to be fine with default, but some of them have crowns like neck rose, and they're actually pretty big. You'd be surprised. So the ones that you're going to want to run on roses are going to be the Pretty Bow. This doesn't take up any room and it just completely removes the crown. There's also the Floral Circle, along with the Tree Lights. So yeah, like I said, the Christmas customs are just nuts. They gave you really good ones. So the Wand, default, a lot of them are very large. So the Stack Deck is a good option because it doesn't take up a lot of room. But there is one that is a little bit more difficult to unlock because it's only through the Town Hall. But when you do get it, I recommend using it. It's the Otaku set. As you can see, it's really thin. So yeah, this is definitely the best one just because it doesn't take up a lot of room. So you're going to want to run that and then the Pretty Bow. So as you can see, it's a pretty big difference. It makes the head quite smaller. For the corn, the best hat in my opinion is Lazy Shell. Most of the corns will be fine bald, but for characters like Mob Cobb where they have a big hat, the Lazy Shell doesn't take up a lot of room. But for example, most of the corns don't have hats, so they'll be okay with just their default bandana. However, they have very big organics. So if you use this one, the bling, it basically takes up no room, and you have a lot more room to see what's going on. This is before, this is after. I don't use this one though, because I personally find it really ugly to look at. For flowers, you're just going to want to keep them all default, because there's not really much else you could do. The best option for cacti is most likely going to be the fried egg. It's pretty close to being bald. A lot of the cactus hats are gigantic, so I recommend running this. Moving back over to the zombies for the pirate, it's actually not a hat you're going to want to run. You're going to want to run this accessory, the wrap. It doesn't allow you to wear a hat, so it makes him completely bald. This is definitely the best hat for pirate, but if you want to use the winter eye muffs as well, these also make him practically bald. And remember, like I said, if you want to use the silver versions of these customizations, it's also a good option because sometimes they do look better. The next couple ones are kind of boring. For soldier, it's just going to be bald. Same thing for scientist and all-star. A little boring, but you know, it gets the job done. However, for engineer, it is a little different. There's only one engineer that could be bald. This is the welder. He could be bald. All the other ones can't. So most of the time, you'll be fine just with the default hat because they're pretty thin, but the hood of silence is basically nothing. But the regular hats are pretty much bald, as you could see. Like the painter's hat is really thin, but their backpacks are just humongous. But there's a couple engineers like plumber where they have like big hats, and that's where I'd recommend running the hood of silence because it's just pretty thin. Same thing with like the mechanic. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Let me know what your favorite hat that I talked about is in the comments down below. Are you going to use these, or do you prefer looking cool? I'm kind of in the middle. With certain characters, I definitely like being able to see what's going on. Plus, even with simplistic customs, you could still customize stuff like tattoos and weapon skins. There are certain characters though where I just love a customization so much, I still use it anyway, even if it blocks part of the screen. But most of the time, I go with whatever takes the least amount of room. Usually a bald and then whatever accessory I want. Because look, it takes up nothing. Pretty cool. But let me know what you guys are going to use after watching this video. Are you going to use your same customs, or are you going to try out the ones that give you a lot of breathing room on the screen? Let me know down in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a good one.